She confidently declares that they must conquer the frigid 6th grade special field without delay. He tries to shift the responsibility onto her, but she reminds him that the exp split is already tilted in his favor. The group prepares to move, and the scene cuts to guards stationed at a restricted-looking gate. The guards confirm that the special field is indeed designated as dangerous. She notes with suspicion that the field's entry limit is too loose, meaning almost anyone could wander in. He pauses, clearly concerned, but sets aside his thoughts for the moment. The group agrees to move forward, and she mentions it's time for Phase 2 of his power-up. She analyzes his style, pointing out his tendency to buff and use fireballs instead of combining diverse skills. He's surprised at her insight, while she encourages him to focus on gaining high-rank skill slots. With a confident smirk, he admits he studies top player habits through dedicated reading. She jokes that only someone like Muhammad would flaunt their skills, as most high rankers hide them. He reacts dramatically, calling that blasphemy. Surprised, she asks if he's never heard of buff sellers players who sell temporary stat boosts like healers once did. He understands the concept, but admits he's never seen anyone offering high-level buffs like S rank or higher. He reflects on the idea of selling buffs, intrigued but unsure how to approach it efficiently. A mysterious figure offers help if needed, suggesting an open connection for future support. While speaking with his teammates, a sudden realization hits him, prompting him to check his phone excitedly. He thinks of someone who might have the exact expertise they need and quickly prepares to make contact. A celestial fairy reports to a divine presence that the hero has accepted the second main quest, signaling the return of his memories. She expresses hope that this development brings Earth closer to salvation, her wings glowing as she floats in a starlit realm. Her gaze shifts with concern, sensing the god's focus isn't on hope, but on something deeper and unknown. The god, cloaked in shadows, expresses a desire to see the hero again, the one who once saved his world. He acknowledges that even now, he watches over the hero, but knows that without his memories, the hero is still incomplete. The fairy reflects solemnly that the hero no longer carries memories of his past life, leaving her uncertain if he's still the man she once knew. A higher being muses about identity, admitting that the version perceived in this realm is only a fragment his true self remains engaged across dimensional boundaries. Questioning his own existence, the god wonders if this projection is truly himself or simply an echo. With gentle conviction, the fairy assures him that despite the changes, he is still the god in her heart, and thus the man before them remains the hero. The fairy questions whether the hero will repeat his past decisions, but a divine voice responds that the outcome must be guided by free will. It emphasizes that the oath tied to their world demands choices made without interference, honoring autonomy. The god instructs the fairy to go to the hero, affirming that he is the one destined for this role. The hero's face appears, as the voice explains that choosing to accept or reject him must be her decision alone. The fairy listens quietly, absorbing the weight of the message, as a swirl of cosmic energy surrounds her. A girl with twin buns makes a bright and flashy entrance through a teleportation-like effect, calling out to Jinhyun excitedly. She arrives near a school gate where Jinhyun stands with two others, drawing surprised looks from the group. One of the girls in the group expresses her suspicion, noting the sudden arrival without prior contact is shady. Jinhyun casually brushes it off, joking that it's normal since so many people love him. One of the boys suspects the girl's sudden appearance is definitely fishy, and his reaction shows discomfort as he calls her sis. The girl enthusiastically charges toward Jinhyun, calling him Appa, while another girl glares with quiet fury. A close-up shows the twin-bun girl hugging Jinhyun tightly, claiming she missed him, while the red-eyed girl watches with obvious jealousy. The twin-bun girl explains she was just too busy lately, brushing off her lack of contact. She then turns to greet the woman beside Jinhyun with cheerful confidence. Finally, she politely addresses her, acknowledging her as the S-rank healer she heard so much about from Jinhyun. The twin bun girl sarcastically remarks that the red-eyed woman must be Jinhyun's healer, or perhaps someone more special, while lightning crackles behind her. The red-eyed woman's expression hardens as she clenches her fists, her aura flaring up in response to the provocation. Jinhyun quickly tries to diffuse the tension, casually saying that the woman beside him manages him now. He turns the conversation, stating he needs enhancement-type buffs, avoiding further awkwardness. The twin bun girl, unfazed, asks what kind of enhancement he needs and inquires about his budget. Embarrassed by her forwardness, Jinhyun awkwardly pleads with his friend to stop looking at him like he's being shameless. The girl nervously realizes she should have planned her response better, sweat dropping while trying to maintain composure. She explains that the buff needs to be S-rank, long-lasting, and compatible with Jinhyun's specific traits, ideally one that works even during breaks in combat. As they walk, Jinhyun casually tells her to suggest something impressive, prompting her to pause and prepare. She confidently steps forward, raises her hand dramatically, and unleashes a radiant display of power. A system window appears, detailing the activated buff, Imperial Prophecy S, an aura-type enhancement with a full list of powerful passive effects. Jinhyun is enveloped in golden light as the buff activates, visibly enhancing his aura and energy flow. A system window reveals the effects of Imperial Prophecy, stating it boosts all base stats by 30% and grants a passive that reduces incoming damage. The girl who casts the buff smiles proudly, pleased with her performance and awaiting feedback. Meanwhile, a mysterious observer, likely a spirit or guide, questions whether this particular buff suits Jinhyun's long-term needs, suggesting there are stronger defensive options. Jinhyun declares his belief that overwhelming offense is the best form of defense, confidently embracing the chosen buff. He smiles with satisfaction, confirming that the buff perfectly aligns with his battle style and mindset. The scene transitions to an online user gallery, where various players leave comments reacting to the buff, discussing its power and speculating about Jinhyun's build and future potential. A video post begins circulating on the net, showcasing Jinhyun wiping out an entire guild effortlessly. The clip quickly gains traction and sparks heated comments. In the footage, Jinhyun slashes through enemies with terrifying precision and unmatched aggression, fully embodying the nickname Psychopath. Users react wildly in the thread, some in awe, some in disbelief, and others humorously calling for his election to office, praising his glorious rampage. A deadly environment is introduced, described as a field with extreme weather, having an average temperature of -30 degrees Celsius, making long-term stationing or exploration nearly impossible. Dangerous visuals of piercing blizzards and jagged terrain follow, emphasizing how a large number of users have died attempting to explore the field due to its brutal and unrelenting conditions. As time progresses, the country is shown taking serious action to address the crisis. In the present, a determined young man in brown gear waits by a portal, declaring that everyone is preparing for the field to reappear. The brown-haired boy explains that special fields appear only for a limited time, and even seasoned users hesitate to enter without a solid plan. A blue-haired girl and a muscular man discuss the odds, with the man questioning the logic of entering when the boss might not even appear. The armored warrior notes that any attempt to enter the field without proper preparation is bound to fail, suggesting caution. Drawing his sword, the knight emphasizes that life is precious and warns against risking it without a thorough plan, regardless of how crucial the quest may be. The boy silently activates a skill, copied Blood Frenzy SSS, while a message indicates he only has one copy attempt remaining. The blue-haired girl reacts skeptically to his actions, remarking that if safety was the only concern, he wouldn't be classified as a true user. The girl asks what Hweon is doing, and he replies that he's trying to activate a skill since the cooldown is over, but it's not triggering. He touches his device again with frustration, attempting to use copied Blood Frenzy SSS, hoping it will activate this time. The system displays the skill info for Blood Frenzy SSS, explaining its temporary power boost, enhanced movement, and extreme side effects if used recklessly. Still annoyed, Hweon curses the game, glaring intensely as he forces another activation attempt with visible strain on his face. Suddenly, the system confirms that the skill Blood Frenzy SSS has been successfully activated and copied. The knight nearby notes that the first wave users had already boosted their stats, implying Hweon will need every bit of power he can get. Hweon yells with excitement as the Blood Frenzy skill activates, unleashing a powerful surge of energy while he thrashes around, overwhelmed by its effects. He laughs maniacally, shouting that he no longer has to see someone's face anymore, clearly intoxicated by the power boost. The knight notices the display and asks the blue-haired girl if she's seen something similar, implying familiarity with such bursts of skill. She confirms that they've encountered users with comparable powers during overseas field missions, showing she's experienced with high-level phenomena. Hweon enthusiastically asks for more information, and the girl playfully agrees, promising to explain everything in detail later. Suddenly, she receives a message from the Dihen Guild, revealing that a special field has opened, one they were eagerly waiting for, and she instantly shifts to full alert, rallying her team. The group celebrates energetically after the field activation news, while Hweon watches them with mixed feelings, clearly not as thrilled as the rest. As they joke around, he quietly complains about being asked to join as a healer despite their supposed preference for mages, feeling slightly sidelined. He activates his device and stores the Blood Frenzy X skill into his skill storage, mentally preparing himself for what lies ahead. A transition shows the title screen, marking a new phase in the story as the scene shifts locations dramatically. Hweon and the blue-haired girl arrive in a grand but eerily empty concert hall, where he wonders aloud why the members who received the quest aren't present yet. The characters reflect on how the usual strategy meetings are now pointless due to the ever-changing nature of recent raids. Hweon questions why he was invited at all if he was just going to be left out, especially since he contributed little in their last attempt. He challenges the idea that rare skills are common, implying there's more value to what he brings than others realize. Just then, the atmosphere shifts as a man enters the stage and formally greets everyone, introducing himself as the raid leader. He declares that the Land of Hell Plague expedition will now proceed under his command, emphasizing that everyone present has been specially chosen. With a confident vow, he promises to lead them to conquer the Land of Hell Plague and urges the group to trust his judgment. Hweon and the girl exchange glances as the raid leader stands confidently before the group, setting a serious tone for the meeting. The leader states that before diving into tactical discussions, it's crucial to understand the enemy they'll be facing in this field. He then shifts the focus to the group, proposing that everyone briefly introduce themselves to build team coordination. Hweon looks confused but intrigued as he prepares to hear what kind of people he's working with. The raid leader begins by introducing himself as a level 29 healer possessing the rare S-rank unique trait Finisher. Another man stands and identifies himself as Kim Moryungsu, a rank buffer, while Hweon quietly observes that several unknown players are starting to eye him curiously. One of the masked attendees stares intensely, clearly excited to be part of Lee Haesung's raid, revealing he's admired his leadership since the Kane battle. The crowd murmurs in awe as someone wonders if the man standing up front is actually the legendary raid leader they've heard about. A confident man named Kim Sang-wook introduces himself as an S-rank tank, hinting at his experience and reliability in battle. A composed woman follows, introducing herself as Lee Huel, an S-rank fire mage with the unique trait End Flame, subtly directing her presence toward someone in particular. The group becomes visibly tense, all eyes turning toward Hweon as if silently expecting something from him. Feeling the pressure, Hweon prepares himself mentally, realizing he must now meet everyone's rising expectations. Hweon dramatically unleashes a display of intense flames, revealing his overwhelming power as fire engulfs the stage, stunning everyone watching. Introducing himself calmly amidst the blazing aura, he states his name Hweon and hints that some may know him by his alias, Psychopass. The raid leader acknowledges his introduction with interest, noting that he's an SS rank mage and expressing his anticipation to work together. After the meeting, the group casually shifts gears, suggesting they grab food, with one remarking that regardless of discussion, they always eat what she wants anyway, prompting amused reactions. The raid leader reacts to recent revelations, pointing out that at Sky Island, it was Hweon who, along with a masked group, allegedly stole the boss item. Hweon appears slightly tense but calm as he prepares to explain the situation, with the others watching closely. He clarifies that while he was the most active mage during the event, he wasn't part of the original party and didn't steal anything himself. Hweon recounts seeing suspicious players attacking the boss and decided to intervene not to help them, but to benefit from the raid since he couldn't stop it. He concludes by explaining the misunderstanding, stating that while others assumed he was with the raiders, the person who contributed the most should rightfully claim the item. Hweon calmly states that if his past actions are a problem, he's willing to withdraw from the raid team without causing conflict. He adds that if the team can't accept him, he'll find another way to contribute elsewhere without forcing himself into a group that doesn't trust him. The raid leader recalls the loss of 2 guild members during the Kane battle and says he simply needed to confirm whether Hweon was allied with their enemies. After clarification, the leader states he won't object to Hweon joining as long as he wasn't working with the enemy group. Hweon visibly relaxes, but it's clear the raid leader still doesn't fully trust him, making Hweon aware he's still under silent scrutiny. A nearby teammate expresses relief that things were resolved smoothly, while another comments that it seemed like someone didn't want Hweon to be part of the raid at all. The blue-haired girl jokingly admits she would have been disappointed if Hyesung hadn't raised an objection, showing she expected tension. Another teammate whispers that he even suspected Hweon might be the true culprit behind the Kane incident, though now he's relieved. As the group prepares to leave, Hweon trails slightly behind, deep in thought about how easily things were resolved. The girl notices his unease and gently asks if something's bothering him, prompting a quiet but honest reflection. Hweon admits he expected more shock or even outrage from the others upon learning his identity, but their subdued reactions caught him off guard. He pulls out his phone and reviews a post that explains the situation, likely hoping to understand public perception more clearly. Scanning the online comments, he sees reactions that range from disbelief to memes, realizing most people aren't taking the news as seriously as he feared. Hweon tries to blend in with the crowd, but someone points out that it's bad manners not to share the spotlight, drawing unwanted attention his way. In a dark, firelit room elsewhere, a group observes the news of Hweon's reveal, hinting that his public emergence was anticipated. A woman in red armor declares that someone named Padre will also be joining the expedition, revealing their own faction's involvement. With a sinister smile, she instructs her group to erase Psychopass from the field, making it clear they intend to eliminate Hweon in the upcoming raid. Inside the shadowy hideout, cloaked figures examine detailed documents, focusing on known players and their raid affiliations. One document highlights a blonde woman, prompting an order to investigate any updates or shifts among the other raid teams. The scene cuts to the same blonde woman in a white cloak, walking alone, unaware she's being targeted for surveillance and strategy analysis. A chilling red message follows. They plan to eliminate as many obstacles as possible, clearly foreshadowing hostile intent against her and others in the upcoming expedition. A snowy town bustles quietly as people walk through icy streets, wrapped in heavy winter clothing, hinting at the extreme weather conditions. A man steps off a plane, heavily dressed, his breath visible in the cold air as he prepares to face the harsh environment ahead. He reflects on his arrival, noting that after an hour-long flight, the freezing temperature gives him a chilling first impression of this overseas sight. Shivering uncontrollably, he mutters to himself that it's unbelievably cold, clearly struggling to stay warm in the intense climate. Another man remarks that the place wasn't always this cold, implying a recent, unnatural change in the environment. The narrator explains that the extreme cold is due to a special field's influence, causing abnormal weather and turning once lively towns into silent, frozen ghost towns. A local pleads with a group of robed figures, calling them the only hope to eliminate the land of the plague, placing desperate faith in their strength. The lead figure assures them not to worry, revealing they've arrived by divine guidance and urging the townspeople to trust in their salvation. The title screen for All Skill Master appears, transitioning the scene to a glowing formation marked Truth Order. Truth Order is introduced as a guild made up of users blessed with holy attributes, known for their sacred presence. Initially, the guild was a small, unimpressive cult that used low-tier skills and only managed to attract a handful of believers. Their rise to prominence began with the appearance of a single miraculous user Hisel, an S-class or higher healer whose powers changed everything. A graceful figure steps forward, introduced as Saintess Lim Sehoya, the revered leader of the Truth Order, surrounded by her followers in white robes. Onlookers recognize her presence with awe, whispering that she must be the legendary saintess they've only heard about in stories. Hweon suddenly remembers her identity, mentally labeling her and her group as that cult with a spark of realization. Lim Sehoya senses his reaction and smiles gently, as if unfazed by the reputation or skepticism directed at her. A concerned companion quickly places a hand on Hweon's shoulder, possibly to stop him from saying something reckless. Another priestess gently mocks him, saying he's just a lame kid who hasn't experienced a miracle yet, but reassures that even someone like him is loved by the Lord. The Truth Order prepares to move, informing the others that they will head in first to rest until the contaminated field is fully purified. With calm confidence, the priestess leads her group away, leaving the rest of the team standing in the snow, waiting for their turn to enter. The group silently watches them leave, a mix of awe and skepticism lingering in the cold air as the scene transitions quietly. One of the boys blurts out a blunt comment, only to be scolded and physically silenced by his teammate, who panics over his lack of tact. Despite the outburst, another teammate quietly agrees, acknowledging that while the delivery was rude, what he said wasn't entirely wrong. A man comments on how the Truth Order's rise to fame through gathering followers and miracles is widely known, though it's odd their saintess resides in such a harsh place. Another man in yellow warmly greets someone, introducing himself as the raid leader of the Dihen Guild's second unit. He mentions recent trouble at the Kane battlefield and stresses their desire to avoid further conflict before the upcoming boss raid. The white-haired man agrees, noting it would be best if all parties operated independently and stuck to their own strategies for now. From a distance, Hweon listens silently, noting that as long as no one crosses the line, there won't be any unnecessary trouble. The scene shows various teams standing in the snow, subtly divided and wary, as unspoken tension lingers between different factions. Members of the Dihen Guild and Truth Order begin to walk away in separate directions, careful not to provoke each other. Masked members whisper among themselves while watching the others, creating a sense of unease as they observe silently from a distance. Hweon mutters that although he already expected the raiders' involvement, dealing with him is still going to be a serious hassle. His comrade warns that since this is a public zone, no one will act recklessly, but advises caution, especially to never wander around alone. The raid leader emphasizes urgency, telling his team that with 3 different groups entering the field, they must locate and defeat the boss as fast as possible. A large portal labeled Field Raid D-Day activates as multiple teams prepare to enter, ensuring final gear checks are done before crossing through. With preparations complete, a voice calls out confidently to those gathered, inviting everyone to begin as the raid officially commences. As the portal activates with a glowing hum, the entire raid team marches forward together, fully armed and ready to enter the deadly field. Hweon and his group step through into a dark, snowstorm-covered wasteland, immediately sensing the dread and pressure of the hostile environment. The area is revealed to be the Plague Land of Hell, a terrifying frozen battlefield pulsing with corrupted energy and unnatural stillness. 2 cloaked figures watch the raiders enter from a distance, shocked and alarmed that someone they recognize, likely Hweon, has actually come here. The narration explains that in this field raid, each team is randomly assigned a spawn location, increasing the unpredictability of the mission. A team sprints across the snowy terrain, remaining alert as they scan their surroundings for any threats in the frozen wasteland. Without warning, a wave of undead monsters charges toward them, snarling and wielding weapons, forcing the raiders into immediate combat. Arrows rain down from above as the undead launch a ranged assault, intensifying the chaos and forcing the team to brace for impact. A brutal melee breaks out as armored undead warriors clash violently with the raiders, their weapons clanging in a chaotic flurry of steel and bone. One of the frontliners notes that the undead seem overloaded with offensive stats, making their attacks overwhelmingly powerful and hard to withstand. A fighter yells in frustration, realizing that the enemies aren't dying easily, and urges his team to aim for their heads to disable them more effectively. As more ghouls rise from the snowy battlefield, another raider shouts in horror, recognizing that their source of regeneration is also tied to their heads. Exhausted and frustrated, the team sits huddled around a campfire after battle, one member cursing under his breath and another muttering that he misses the comfort of Sky Island. The mood remains tense as a girl sighs in relief, expressing how glad she is that Yuna joined them, clearly valuing her presence in the harsh conditions. Suddenly, she shifts the topic, asking about everyone's roles and urging the team to check if anyone is missing, showing her concern for group coordination. One teammate remarks sarcastically that they seem to have made it through thanks to luck and team effort, then questions why Ju-yeon looks so confident. Ju-yeon grins smugly, boldly declaring that he's enjoying the benefits from the blood battle, hinting at rewards or growth earned during the chaos. Still holding his weapon proudly, he reaffirms that he's fully taking advantage of the situation, emphasizing that he too is claiming bonuses from the deadly fights. A system notification displays Ju-yeon's impressive stat growth from the blood battle, showing increases in X rank, total magic power, and skill amplification buffs. He recalls a time he briefly experienced this level of power, but couldn't enjoy it fully due to enemy interference from other raiders. Now, combining newly gained buffs like Celestial Melody and the Blessing of Buffs, his magic power has surged to 1500, granting significant bonus damage. With a wide grin, Ju-yeon explains that every 100 magic points gives him an extra 4% damage bonus, revealing the frightening extent of his scaling. As another upgrade pops up, enhancing his active skills even more, he warns himself not to get overconfident or repeat past mistakes, keeping his ambition in check. Ju-yeon tries to lighten the mood, teasing his armored teammate while revealing he copied the teleport skill earlier, hinting he's prepared for surprises. The armored man addresses the group, noting how this field is crawling with undead and emphasizing the importance of fire-based strategies. He explains that safe zones are extremely rare and monsters often attack in packs, making reckless actions costly and dangerous. The team's mission, he reminds them, is to defeat the field boss, not to waste resources grinding experience or fighting unnecessary battles. Wrapping up his briefing, he announces that a scouting team will be organized to locate the boss and asks for volunteers willing to take the lead. As the scouting mission is proposed, the group exchanges uncertain glances. Ju-yeon appears calm and confident, while the others, including the armored knight, seem hesitant and slightly overwhelmed by the pressure of the task ahead.